A global pandemic is raging, but the news must go on. The University of Central Florida is known for the Nicholson School of Communication and Media. Within the building, hidden down a small hallway, is nightly news. Led by an almost all-female team, away from the glitz and glamour of news anchors or E&G reporters or the production students. They show up every week and spend hours setting up the show, making sure it's just right. A task made even harder thanks to a pandemic. In March of 2020, UCF closed for spring break, and many students assumed they'd be back to their studies after 2 weeks. But with cases rapidly increasing of COVID-19, the university never returned in its original form. Many students were blindsided by the sudden pause on their face-to-face classes, and RTV students were not the exception.
It was a difficult adjustment for everyone, and the university did as best as they could to get everything sorted out. We basically had to stop everything. We weren't able to continue doing any of our projects, any of the work that we were doing for that semester. A lot of our final projects got dropped, and I felt like I had lost out on a lot of opportunity there.
We weren't even sure that we were going to be able to produce a new show, and that was very nerve-wracking considering that for a lot of people this will be the only time they get hands-on experience in a studio.
By the time the fall semester was approaching, COVID-19 cases were at their highest in the state of Florida. UCF announced their plan to keep their curriculum mainly online, but allow face-to-face classes for certain programs and courses. Luckily, there were production classes offered, allowing students to continue their face-to-face classes with safety restrictions. Smaller class sizes, face masks, and social distancing were all enforced.
I feel like UCF did a pretty good job handling the RTV side of pandemic education. I think everyone would have much preferred a time where we could have just done it without these restrictions, but even with the restrictions, I feel like I learned almost just as much as I would have outside of the pandemic.
Yeah, so I think COVID definitely has limitations to experience, but I do feel like I am being prepared while I'm still here to be prepared to go out into the work and find work and stuff. So definitely getting the experience I need.
As with the courses, there was also a return of nightly news. New rules were added to ensure safety to the crew, including plexiglass for master control and face shields for the camera operators. These students produce in a pandemic, spending hours at a time making sure that important stories are told. As the COVID-19 pandemic continues to rage on into 2021, many students are close to graduation, and in turn the career field. The entertainment industry suffered in the past year, and many studios and production houses have laid off thousands of employees. This makes an already unstable job market even more difficult to break into.
It's incredibly difficult right now to try and find a job, not even in the radio television industry, but just in general because of the whole pandemic. It's really thrown a wrench in my plans.
It's definitely going to be pretty hard considering that since studio production is such a in-person, person-oriented job, you need to actually be there in order to do it. So I believe once the pandemic is finally over, all those job prospects are just going to open the floodgates and we're going to see a massive influx of studio jobs across the board in the country.
While some worry for their readiness for the real world, a lot of students are thankful for the hands-on training they have gotten from the UCF faculty.
Now that we are actually kind of getting face-to-face and we're starting to pick up and get into the semester, we're able to do a little bit more. We're feeling more confident about how we're proceeding. I feel a lot more confident now that we're kind of finding our groove and getting back into the swing of things. It's the best scenario that we could ask for.
A global crisis is raging, all right, but it won't stop important stories from being told, and it certainly won't stop the dedicated production team working quietly, thanklessly through a pandemic. This has been a pandemic production.